So what does it actually mean to cover in love? 1 Corinthians 13:7 says, love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Another translation actually says, love covers all things in silence. That means when you truly walk in love, there are certain sins you just don't even speak on. Not that you ignore them, but because it's not your job to expose what God is working on in somebody else. Does covering mean pretending the sin don't exist? Nope. But it does mean we don't weaponize someone's past to hold them hostage from their future. You see, grace is not a free pass to keep sinning. I love the part in Romans where Paul asks, in Romans 6:1, he says, shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. Sin has consequences, and if you keep touching fire, you're going to get burned. You keep dancing around the temptation. The temptation there, you're going to eventually fall in it. God is not standing over you, waiting to throw you away when you fail. That's not God. But you must exercise wisdom and listen to wise counsel when people are trying to cover you in love. I mean, I'll be honest. I have not gotten this right all the time. I used to struggle, but just because I fell short, it doesn't mean that I don't get back up and ask for forgiveness, turn away from the crazy, and run right back into the arms of Jesus. Now, one of the things I find a bit disappointing is how the modern church sometimes look like the world in certain areas. We can all grow in the area of covering each other with love. A lot better, a lot more. I mean, many want to go out and start ministries and self-promote, but God has His perfect timing for everything He has for you. He won't take you out of the mud and send you back to get the other people who in the mud with mud still all over you. God restores. His love restores you. Him clean you up. God's love covers His children. Now, I'm not saying be careless, because care must be taken when we stewarding the things of God. But who are we to decide if anybody is qualified to do God's work? When you look at scripture, did Moses stand in front of Israel and confess to murder before God used him? Or did David hold a press conference about his sin before he continued to reign as king? No. God knew their sins and yet He still called them. He dealt with them in private. God's love covered them. Covering sin doesn't mean you ignore it. It means you don't use it as a weapon against the person. And I'll challenge you, ask God to show you if there's someone you've already condemned in your heart.